Good evening, guys. Welcome to this week's Smiles US Pathway Recruitment Drive. And uh, let's wait for another 5 minutes before we start because I see a lot of more people are joining in. All right. And in the meantime, what we can do is we can just have a small activity because I don't want this webinar to be like just me speaking and you guys listening. That'll be very boring, right? So what we can do for now is let's all introduce ourselves on the chat. Chat is open for everyone, right? Everyone can just message on the chat and introduce yourself. You can say your name, where you're working right now. If you're not working, you can mention if you're working. Actually, Sai Baba, if you can just let the streaming live screen be on screen for another 3 to 4 minutes. I think you can take it off at 7:05. For now, let it be so that where new people who are joining, they'll know um, that we still haven't started. All right. Okay. So you can just start by mentioning your name, where you're working right now, and how many years of experience you have. All right. So I'll start with myself. My name is Franklin. I am working at Miles, and I have done my bachelor's here in Bangalore itself. And yeah, I have about 4 years of experience. All right. So great, great. Arpit mentioned that he has 12 years of experience. 12 years of experience in what, right? Over here, we have jobs for accounting, and then taxation, and then audit, right? So, what do you guys have experience in? Can't hear from you. You want me to be a little bit more louder, or is the voice completely not there? Abhishek, you're a student. Abhishek, what are you studying? Arpit mentioned he has job experience in the finance industry. Awesome. So, why do you want to move into accounting, or do you want to move into accounting, right? So, can you mention that? My voice is fine. Thanks, Kanishta. Um, Sparsha is a CPA aspirant. Amazing, amazing, Sparsha. So you would be like the perfect candidate for this particular call. All right. We will start in another 3 minutes. In today's call, we will discuss about what is the shortage that is there in the US, what are the opportunities that are there for you, what are the companies that are hiring, and what positions are they hiring for, and the best part, the salaries that you guys can start earning from, right? And how would you need to proceed to earn so much? What will be the process? What will be the pathway and things like that, right? So, hi Venkatesh, you did my graduation, 1 year of experience in accounting. Amazing, amazing. So, okay. And another thing that I want to ask you guys is why do you guys want to go to the US, right? So if one were to ask me the same question of why I want to go to the US, my answer would fall in two categories, right? It would either be to gain experience about the culture that is there in the US. Different states in the US have different cultures, right? So it would be for the experience in the US. Or second thing would be if what would they say, to earn more salaries, right? So to get an increase in my salary package would be my second reason, and my first reason would be to gain experience. So where does your answer fall in? Why do you guys want to go to the US? Tarunya mentioned she's completed her BCom honors and currently pursuing your CPA. Amazing, amazing. Guys, for this, CPA is very important. CPA becomes like your golden ticket to get jobs in the US because of the shortage that is there is for CPAs, right? It's for accounting, and CPA is like the umbrella degree for you to get jobs over there. So all the CPAs who are on this call, or CPA aspirants who are on this call, you guys do not have to worry. You guys already have the golden ticket. And for people who are aspiring to be CPAs, who are already accountants with 10, 11, 4, 5 years of experience, over here, let's discuss the process for on how you guys can get to that place. All right. So let's start, guys. And also, I understand that a lot of you all might have a lot of queries, right? Because this process is kind of very new, right? So all your questions, please make sure that you keep dropping it in the chat and I will answer it at the end. And if you guys have any particular questions to any slides, mention the slide number and note it down for you. Let's go back to that slide, revisit, and try and solve your queries. All right. So let's get started, right? So over here, what do you guys see? You guys see that there is a huge shortage of accountants, and America wants you. And if you enlist for the Miles US pathway, you will earn salaries starting from $60,000. That is more than 50 lakh rupees, right? So let's first understand why there is a shortage, right? So if we go back in time and see, everyone over here had once completed your 10th grade, right? Now, when there was an option after your 10th grade to either choose science or commerce, how was that pitched to you? Because how did your teacher pitch that to you? Your teacher would have said that you're doing really well. You're a top student. You're getting 80 plus, 90 plus. You should go for science, right? And all the mid-level people like me, I got about 75% in my 10th. And my teachers told that you have to take commerce. We can't give science for you, right? So when this choice came to many students, science was preferred because science is cool. Science is for, it's kind of said that science is for like the very cool people, or at least in terms of studies, right? So that's how it was pitched. Now, how did science become that cool, right? If you guys go back, let's say 2 decades, right? There was something called as the dot-com bubble burst, right? So what happened over there is a similar kind of shortage, right? The dot-com bubble burst led to a similar kind of shortage that accountants are having now in the entire tech industry. And the tech industry did two things, right, to solve for the shortage. First thing is they outsourced all the work into countries like India, right? And that's how Bangalore become the Silicon Valley of India, and it started growing. A lot of tech companies started setting up their international hubs in Bangalore and in India, and tech started growing majorly. And second thing what they did was they created a pathway for Indians to go to the US, because they kind of understood that Indians are very aspirational. Indians do not want to kind of carry on the same thing that their parents have left them. They want to make a name for themselves, right? And what Americans did, or what America did, was they created a pathway for Indian accountants to go to the US and work there. And we will be talking about the pathway that they created. But first, let's talk about some of the tech names that have grown really well in the tech industry, right? For example, Sundar Pichai, right? If you look at him, he's done his BTech from India, and he's gone to the US and he's done his masters as well as his MBA, and then he's gone to become the CEO of Google, right? Now, all these people are kind of the flag bearers for Indian tech talent. People in India who are in tech look up to these people. But who do we have in accounting, right? There, as of now, I can't think of anyone who is there in accounting right now. And that is where we are here. That is what we are trying to build. Is you guys can be these kind of um, flag bearers for Indian accountants in the US, right? So first, let's understand the shortage that is there in the US, right? So uh, let's understand the problem more in depth. The new businesses that have started in the last 5 years have basically grown from 3.5 million to 5.5 million in 2023. But the number of CPAs, that's the number of accountants passing out in the US, has decreased from 23,000 to about 17,000, right? Now, what this means is that for every 50 companies that are there in the US, there is only one accountant, right? And this, do you guys look at this as a huge problem? Can you guys see the problem over here? So if one accountant is doing the books for 50 companies, imagine his bandwidth, right? How much work he'll have to do. You guys are very aware of how much time it takes for doing the books for one particular company. Now, if you have to do it 50 times and add the busy season on top of it, right? And that is the reason accounting becomes very boring. Accountants do not have the time to do anything that is cool because you're doing the books for 50 companies. Accountants do not have the bandwidth to go out and party and things like that because you guys are doing 50 books for the companies of 50 books for 50 companies, right? I'm sorry. And that is where it's affecting us even mentally, right? If you guys are aware of things that are going on in the top companies in India itself, right? You guys are very active on LinkedIn. I'm very aware that you guys are very active on LinkedIn and you guys know what is going on in the industry, right? And I do not think this is fair, right? And let's look at it in a more, even in a business perspective. We understand that humanly it is not fair. Now let's look at it in a business perspective. What will happen if audits are not filed and compliances are not followed, right? Things will happen like what happened with Tupperware, right? Tupperware is has already filed for bankruptcy, number one. Second thing is Tupperware, 3 months before that happened, have filed that they are not able to release their annual findings because of the accountant shortage, right? Now imagine this happens across the entire industry, guys. Now let's say if a company wants to issue a public offering, right? What if there are no accountants to value the company, right? Will the company be able to go public? Will the company be able to raise money to run its day-to-day operations? The answer is no, right? So accountants are very important in the industry, and that is the reason that we are trying to fill the gap. All right. And it's not just us who are talking about it. There has been a lot of journals and articles about it. You guys can just go on Google right now and type the shortage of accountants, and you guys will see n number of articles that are out there, right? And I would also like to show you guys a small video before we move forward. Just stop me if you.
The global economy is in crisis. There's a huge accountant shortage, and America wants you.
There are 17% fewer accountants employed.
300,000 accountants and auditors leave the profession.
So let me get this straight. We're currently short on eggs, butter, and accountants.
Miles has cracked the puzzle for Indian accountants to work in the U.S. for 3 years. Become a flag bearer for Indian accounting talent as you live the great American dream.
So, yeah, guys, ignore the marketing part because the entire point of this was to show you guys how bad the shortage of accountants in the US is and how easily companies are able to hire our talent, right? In the slides that will going forward, we'll try and understand more about the shortage, like 72,000 graduates every year for a requirement of 126,000 accountants that are needed in the US, right? So these are the number of job opportunities that are available every year in the US, right? Now, a question might come up, right? If there are about 53,000 jobs, why can't I just go on LinkedIn? Everyone's very smart here, right? Why can't I just go on LinkedIn, find these companies who are based in the US and directly approach them and apply for a job, right? So what is the whole point of joining the Miles US pathway? What is the entire point of relying on Miles to help you get you guys placed, right? So that is where the issue comes in, right? So that is where the issue of the entire visa comes in, because the visa laws in the US are very strict. And we look at it in the next slide that is over here. Initially, what used to be the pathway for Indian accountants is that you will complete your BCom in India. You will be able to pursue your master's in accounting in the US for about 18 months, post which you will get a 1-year OPT, right? OPT stands for optional practical training, right? So OPT, you will get, with the OPT, you will get an opportunity to work at any of the accounting firms or Big Four for example, if you've done a master's in accounting, you'll be able to work in an accounting firm. If you've done your master's in finance, you'll be able to work in a finance firm. If you've done your master's in tech or any other field, you will be able to get a practical training in that particular field that you've done your master's in, right? Now, just having a 1 year OPT wasn't that feasible, right? Now, imagine if you are hiring managers at these firms. If you are looking at a candidate who will work at your company just for 1 year, how exciting is that? Right? It's not at all exciting. If you know that your employee is going to leave in 1 year, it's not profitable for you. You can probably just hire them as an intern and make them do all the grunt work and things like that. But what is in it for you, right? As a candidate or as an employee who goes to a firm to work there for just 1 year, what's the ROI for you, right? So we did a small calculation about the ROI, and we came to the conclusion that your total expenses of living in the US for 3 years is about $45,000. And over here, we've been very generous with the expenses, because if you go on yourself, it will not cost this less. I'll explain why in the further slides, what Miles been able to do. But and also your earning potential will also not be $60,000, again, because of processes that Miles has set and what we've been able to do. But let's say best case scenario, you're very conservative, you're able to let your expenses be under $40,000, and you get a job at the same starting salary that Miles is offering, that's about $60,000. You pay off your student loan, your interest, your taxes, and your cost of living for every year. Your approximate net loss will be around $16,000. Now, if you convert that into Indian rupees, let's say you take it at 80 rupees per dollar, how much is that? That comes up to about 16 lakhs, approximately 16, 18 lakhs, approximately, right? Now, that will be your entire loss, right? You guys have gone to the US and you've made a loss. If you have that money, amazing. You can go to the US by yourself, experience 3 years plus 1 year of work in the US and come back, right? But if you also want to make an ROI, please stick around for some more time in this session. All right. Now, how did Miles crack the puzzle? What did we do differently that you are able to get an ROI on this, right? So we use the entire tech playbook. I keep coming back to the tech playbook is because techies had the similar shortage before us and they've already gone there and they've done that, right? So now the person who goes second, what we have as an advantage is we are able to understand the mistakes that they did and not repeat the same thing. So we are using the same playbook that techies have used, and we are leveraging the power of STEM, right? Now, when we compared both the entire Miles pathway and what the techies have done, the only difference that we saw over there was the tech pathway had something called as STEM involved in their pathway, right? Now, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? Now, because STEM was involved, instead of getting a 1 year OPT, that's optional practical training, the techies used to get 3 years OPT, optional practical training, basically, right? So when techies get these 3 year OPT, now convert the entire $60,000 into 3 years, right? Now that will be your ROI, right? Your ROI will be times 3, which will be in the positive. Now, why the Miles US pathway, right? Number one is because of the shortage. Second thing, what we've done is uh, we've partnered with US universities and we've recommended that they integrate business analytics. Now, since the entire world is moving into things like AI, business analytics becomes a very important course or a very important skill to add to your artillery. Right now, what we've done is we've asked US universities to include business analytics into their masters in accounting program, which makes the entire masters in accounting program STEM certified. Right now, because of that, the same Miles US pathway, the same Masters in Accounting program, you will get a 3 year OPT instead of one, just like engineers would get, right? Now, let's look at some of the universities, right? So we started off in fall of 2022 with just one university, and now we've grown more than 35 to 40 universities, right? And in the academic year of 23-24, we had about 300 students who went to the US. In the academic year of 24-25, which recently closed, we had about 620 students who are going to the US. And for the academic year of 25-26, we are expecting more than 1,000 students to go to the US, and most of these seats are almost already full, right? So there are limited seats that are available. So on this slide, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is why go to the US and study there, right? Why masters in accounting? Why can't you just, again, stressing on the same point, go to the US and just start working at accounting firms, right? Now, let's understand why the entire masters in accounting program was created, right? Let's come back to India. Why would someone do an MBA? Why would someone do an MBA in finance? Why would someone do their CPA? I'm sorry. Why would someone do their CA? And you've also seen people who are CAs, right? People who are also CAs do a MBA, right? Why do people do and have that double degree? Number one is, if you ask them, they'll be like, for career growth. I've come to a certain stage with my bachelor's. Now to go further, big companies or the top companies are asking for an MBA, a master's, right? So that is one reason that master's in accounting program is there in the US. And second reason is because um, to become a CPA in the US, you require to have a master's, right? So, for example, in India, if someone has to be a CA, CA is like the highest profession in the accounting field in India, right? Because CA have that license, they have the power and the authority to sign on audits, and they are actually held accountable when something goes wrong. And there's a lot of power with a CA, and also come with a lot of responsibility and respect, right? So to be a CA in India, you have to basically pass about 20 exams. You have to do your inter, and top of that, you need to do your articleship for about 2 years. These are like the mandates that are there to become a CA, right? So similarly, in the US, you need to have 120 credits, university credits, to be able to apply or write the CPA exams, right? So CPA has 4 exams, and to be eligible to write those 4 exams, you need to have 120 credits, which you get from your university. That is your undergrad, right? So if you've basically done your BCom in India from an accredited university, then you automatically qualify for writing your exams, right? But if you have to get a CPA license in the US, then you have to have 150 credits, right? So that's the reason the entire Masters in Accounting program is created, and the entire credits that you get from your Masters in Accounting program is about 30 credits, right? So if you look at it, if you might think that it'll be too much to study, right? You have to do your master's in accounting, then you have to study for your CPA. And that's the reason what US education has done is they've aligned the entire master's in accounting program with your CPA, right? So when you'll be studying for FAR, which is a section of CPA, you'll also be studying that in your university under the subject called as advanced financial reporting, right? So while you're studying for your master's in accounting, or while you're studying for your CPA, you'll be doing both things parallelly, right? So you're not in accounting terms making a double entry, right? So guys, again, I want to make it a point that you guys might have a lot of doubts because you're listening to it for the first time or for the second time. Please make sure you note it down and drop it down in the chats. I will get back to them at the end of the session. And if you have doubts on specific slides, we note down the slide numbers or the heading of the slide. We'll come back to that and we'll discuss that in detail. All right. What I want to make sure over here in this session is that everyone leaves with almost zero doubts. I can't promise or guarantee that you will have 100% of your doubts cleared, but I'll make sure that at least 90 to 99% of your doubts are cleared in this session. All right. So please make sure of that. And moving forward, you might ask that you have to pay for your CPA exams, you will have to pay for your master's in accounting program. And isn't this all going to be too expensive for me? Right. So again, Miles has come in over here. We have made sure that you it's not too hard on your pocket, right? So earlier I'd spoken about it, right? 45,000 or $48,000 is very conservative because of the discounts or the kind of processes that Miles has created. And one of the three of the things that we've done is, first thing is, we've made a pathway where you can do 30% of your entire coursework in India itself, right? So we've partnered with a university called JAXOM, which is a NASBA accredited university. So you'll be doing 30% of your entire coursework in India, and you'll be transferring your credits to the US university. Now, how does this help you? It saves you about 6 to 8 months in the US, right? So if you're doing 6 to 8 months of work in India itself, and you're saving 6 to 8 months of living in the US, that saves on your cost of living, number one, right? And second thing it saves is in time, right? So the sooner you complete it, so things work parallelly, right? So as soon as you get your US F1 visa, you can start working on this course. And if you do things parallelly as your visa interviews and all of those things are completed in India, in that time, if you do your entire coursework online, you will be saving on a lot of time as well, right? Second thing, what we've done is we were able to get about 40% scholarships just for Miles candidates. And the reason is because, again, if you go back 2 slides, you can see that Miles is not just sending one or two candidates to each to every university. We are sending full batches of 30 to 60 candidates from Miles University, and universities are very happy to give scholarships of up to 40%, right? So your university cost is reduced, your cost of living is reduced. Another thing, what we've done is, with all our partner universities, we've made sure that there are no GRE, GMAT, or IELTS and TOEFL exams or certificates that you'll have to submit to get your university offer letter, right? So if you've done, or if you've applied for any study abroad courses, you will know that GRE, GMAT, or IELTS and TOEFLs are very important, right? Because universities or companies or universities basically want to make sure that you will be able to fit in, right? So people do not, or universities do not want candidates who cannot understand the language that they teach in, right? So that is the main reason that is there. And what we've done is we've made sure that all these are waived off only for Miles candidates. So over here, again, you'll be saving on time of taking all these exams, and you'll also be saving on money that you'll be spending to take all these exams, right? So this will be your entire cost breakdown. First step would be, you can start off with paying a 20,000, which will be an out-of-pocket expense, which will be enrollment for the Miles US pathway. Second thing that you will have to do is enrolling for the 9 credits in India. That's your JAXOM program, right? So that would cost about $6,900, and it will be covered under the loan. And the third thing, this is a very important step, is that you receive your university offer letter, right? So that is an I-20. Now, an I-20 becomes very important to you because you will need that to apply for your US F1 visa, right? Now, this entire process costs about $2,000, which will be an out-of-pocket expense, right? Now, I want to make sure that I inform you guys that in this cost, your flight tickets is also included, right? So we have accounted for that as well, right? Now, step 4 is the Miles OPT Job Readiness Program. Now, I'll stress on this and I'll talk more on this in the further slide, but I'll tell you why this is very important is because the interviews in India are completely different from the interviews in the US, right? Now, how they are different? Interviews in the US are more cultural. They want to make sure that you are more of a culture fit than you have technical skills, right? So in India, it's more technical. but in the US, it's more cultural. Now, what our placement team does is we have multiple mocks with you. We have multiple sessions, even with the US employers or the HR team, and we try to understand what is required from the company's end, and we kind of train you on that, right? So this entire job readiness program is to lessen the gap that is there between what our Indian experience is to what the US university requires from students, right? So this will cost you about $5,000, and it will be an out-of-pocket expense. Right now, the reason step 5, 6.1, and 6.2 are in green is because it is an expense that you will incur after you go to the US, right? So number one is your step 5 is your CPA program that will cost about $2,300, which will be covered under the loan. Now, I'll again tell you why CPA is very important, right? CPA is like the umbrella degree for all three sectors, that is accounting, your tax, and audit. Right. So if you're a CPA, you can do all three. And on top of that, you can, once you get your CPA license, you will also be able to sign on audits. So it is a bonus for the company. So make sure that you are already on the CPA track while you are already in the US. All right. Now, 6.1 and 6.2 is your university fees. That's 6.1. We've kept it in the range of about 21,000 to 39,000, which is on the very lower end. uh, uh, it's because of the scholarships that you can get through the Miles US pathway, as well as because different university are located in different locations in the US, and they will vary because there is the cost of living in different universities will also vary, right? So this entire section will be covered under the loan. And 6.2 is your stay in the US. And again, over here, we've kept it very minimal, is because since you'll be going to the US with a lot of Miles alumni, we just assuming that you will at least be sharing the entire accommodation with one person. But if that money is not an issue for you and you can go ahead and stay, that's completely up to you guys. And this entire section will also be covered under the loan, right? Now, most of the questions come from this section. Please make sure that you guys note down all your questions and keep them on the side so that we can take that up at the end of the session. All right. Okay, guys. So moving forward, this would be an indicative timeline of, if you start today, by November, you should get your university offer letter. And by Feb, you can get your F1 visa, right? And from November to August is where your 9 credits or your 9 credits in India will start. So aim to complete it before you fly to the US, and aim to complete your CPA while you're in your university itself, right? So you'll start in the US from August, and by May 2026, you should start working in the US. All right. So this is the ROI, right? So your investment will be a 1-year study in the US, and 2 lakhs out of pocket and 38 lakh loan. And the ROI that you'll be getting is the 3-year OPT, through which you'll be earning about 50 lakhs a year. That's more than 1.5 crores over 3 years. And if you compare the two slides from the start, where you'll be making about 16,000 loss in 1 year, over here, you'll be saving more than $20,000 every year, right? So your total savings will be more than 50 lakhs in 3 years, right? Now, these are some of the universities that we have our candidates in, and these are some of our alumni, right? So one thing that I want to bring to your notice is look at the years of experience, right? It's very, the range is crazy. Like, we have candidates who have just 1 year of experience, to candidates who have 10 plus years of experience, to candidates in the middle with 4 to 5 years of experience as well. And all of these people have already started working in the US. All right. So I'd like to show you guys another video as well. And this is about our candidates who are there in the US.
So today I'm graduating.
Class of 2024.
That moment was truly brilliant.
Super excitement. I mean, it's like dream come true. I am living the true American dream.
What are you most excited about?
Dollar.
To have a job in hand while I graduate, it's just magical, man.
Working as an audit associate in New York, it has been life-changing for me.
In 2 months, I was able to get a job, which is not something that I hear of.
Coming here itself is the biggest thing, and then getting job is like I made it.
And just believe in yourself and the Miles team.
Now that I'm living this dream, I'm super excited, and thanks to Miles.
So how's the video, guys? The video's come out well, right? It's very aspirational. It kind of like shows the entire experience that you guys can have in the US, right? So if you guys get started today, within a year and a half, that can be you, right? So these were students. If someone was here from that entire cohort in on these calls, they would say that a year back, a year and a half back, I was one of y'all in one of these meetings trying to understand what the entire pathway is, and now I'm graduating with a job in hand, with salaries with more than $60,000 and things like that, right? So that's the entire thing that can happen for you guys. And the most important part of this entire webinar is placements in the US, right? So that's what everyone's here for, is to try and understand what we are doing to help you all get placed, right? So what this entire pathway for the firms was very new, because firms were right now only aware of one solution, that is outsource the work to India, right? And they've been doing that for the last 2 to 3 decades through the Big Four, where you'll where people who are working at the Big Four are doing accounting or the books of US firms, right? Now, what we have done is, once we started approaching all these firms, that's more than 350 plus CPA firms, they were like, it's too good to be true, because we do not have accountants who we can hire at our US offices. Right now, if we are getting an opportunity to hire someone who can work with us for 3 years, then that's amazing, right? So we have started approaching firms, and right now we have partnered with more than 350 plus CPA firms, as well as state societies, right? So and we've conducted placement drives with more than 5,000 attendees. That's more than 5,000 of students who wanted to move to the US, with firms like RSM, BDO, Crow. Now, you can also hear from all of these people in some of the podcasts that is there on our YouTube channel, right? So from there, what you'll understand is what they are looking for in candidates. Now, they first initially understood that there is a pool of candidates that is available. Now, second thing is, what are they looking for in these candidates, right? So if you go on our YouTube channel and kind of look up all these podcasts that are there, you'll understand what are the kind of skills you need to improve and things like that, right? And uh, what we have an entire team that is there in the US who are working with these firms regularly. And what we will do is, we will share some links for you guys to follow all these people. We will share links to follow Chandu. We'll share links to follow Varun Jain in the US. Now, how this will help you is, you will be aware of things that are going on, right? So if you know that Miles is recently onboarded, let's say you are very new, right? Let's say Miles is recently onboarded RSM as one of our hiring partners. You can directly reach out to our placement team and ask them to recommend your profiles to RSM if that's one of the companies that you want to work at, right? And second thing is, interviews, like I told, interviews in the US are very conversational, right? They want to understand if you know more about them, if you will be able to work with them as a team, right? Now, if you start off the entire conversation or the entire call with the hiring manager in the US by saying, I just saw a post of you with Chandu at one of the conferences in the US, and I was very intrigued about the way you guys work, the culture at RSM, right? So that's the reason I was very adamant that I want to join RSM, and RSM became an aspirational company for me to join in. So you guys have already broken the ice between you and the hiring manager, and now you guys have a lot of things to talk about. This opens up conversations to why do you want to work at RSM, and they start telling more about the culture in RSM and things like that, right? So I encourage all of you all to go ahead and follow us on all the platforms. I think the team would have added the links on the chat. And moving to the last part of the entire webinar, why what after 3 years, right? So you guys have gone to the US, you've worked there and things like that. Now what after 3 years, right? After 3 years you can come back to India and work at the same firms that you were working in the US, right? Because now you're aware of the entire clientele, you aware of the processes that are set at a company, right? And the cost for a company to replace a talent is higher than cost for them to just uh, retain them, right? So that's the entire thing. We have already started conversations with the firms for retention plans where they can come back to India and work remotely with the same clients. And the estimated CTC for that is upwards of 20 lakhs in India, right? Now, another option under that would be, if let's say you do not want to continue working with the same firm, right? So Miles has tie-ups with top MNCs in India as well as the Big Four. So we will make sure that you get placed at one of the firms, right? Now, plan B is H-1B visa sponsorship. Now, what is H-1B visa sponsorship? It is a work visa for you to continue working in the US, right? And the reason this is plan B is because Miles has no role to play over here, and it's completely at the discretion of your employer. And on top of that, there is an annual cap of 85,000, and the H-1B is a lottery system, right? So it'll be completely based on luck. And to make things even more crazy, what has happened is 85,000 pool, the annual cap of 85,000 is further broken down into two categories of 65,000 and 20,000. 65,000 becomes your regular category, and there's a reservation for 20,000 for people with advanced degrees. Right now, as someone with CPA and as someone who's done their masters in the US, you become eligible for both the pools, that is both 65,000 as well as 20,000, right? So I would like to end the session with one more video that is about what firms are facing in the US. And after that, let's take up Q&As. All right, guys. So just make sure that while this video is being played, you again make a note of everything or recollect everything that you've heard this entire webinar, and let's start with the Q&A after that. All right.
After 2020, we saw people backing out of accounting.
What I never saw coming is the massive staffing shortage.
It's a crisis.
300,000 accountants and auditors leave the profession.
The talent shortage is by far the most pressing thing that as a profession we're dealing with.
There's more CPAs that are retiring than that are coming in.
We live and breathe it every day. It's hard to find experienced talent.
Miles Education approached us and said, hey, we have a solution for you, and really help U.S. employers get the help that we need.
Miles Education have really finding a solution.
This is an answer. This is doing something out of the ordinary.
Miles has cracked the puzzle for Indian accountants to work in the US for 3 years. Become a flag bearer for Indian accounting talent as you live the great American dream.
So yeah, guys, that's it from my end. You guys can get started by scanning this QR code and registering for the pathway. I'll have this QR on the screen for a couple of more minutes. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, start noting them down in the chats, and let's start taking that up. All right. So yeah. Where are you guys mentioning the? Okay, so it's there are available on the Q&As. All right. Okay, so I'll stop sharing because I'm not able to see the Q&As until I stop sharing. All right. Digant has asked how to register for CPA after chartered accountant. Is there any age criteria? There is no age criteria, but however, you need to have 120 credits to write the CPA exam and 150 credits to start or to get a CPA license, right? Now, if you're already a chartered accountant, I think you will have the credits that is required. You can start off by going on our website or just reaching out to anyone from the Miles team. You can um, register using the link that will be put on the chat. That is the request callback sheet form. And from there, our team will reach out to you and help you get registered. All right. Arun Kumar have 11 years of experience in supply chain logistics and warehouse management. Okay. Hi, Arun Kumar. Do you have a question? Do you have any doubts? Please mention them. Shaurya says, are there remote job opportunities available for someone in Canada? We, as of now, all the jobs that are there are in person or in the US. So if you're able to make that move, please make sure that you reach out to us and we'll be able to help you out with that. Deepika says, I'm in the US right now, housewife, got my EAD recently and can work. Already cleared 2 exams and today is your last exam. Amazing. How do you enroll for or how do you start a job is your question, right? So over here, the entire situation is slightly complicated. We'll have to try and understand which visa you are on in the US, right? And post that, if you're on a work visa or something like that, then we'll be able to help you get a job immediately. If not, then you'll have to go through the entire pathway. So please make sure that you register using the request callback sheet or the request callback form that will be populated in the chat, and we'll be able to help you. Can someone please mention the form again? Wait, let me do it. I'll just share the form on the chat again. Okay, so you guys can start off by registering on this, fill up this form, and our team will get in touch with you, Deepika. All right. Anonymous attendee had a career gap of 6 years. Will the Big Four hire me just after doing a CPA? So now, if you have relevant experience before the 6 year gap, then amazing. If not as well, Big Four are very happy to hire. They'll be looking at you as a fresher. And if we are going to the US, then they'll be very happy to hire you as a fresher at top accounting firms with the CPA. All right. What is Jackson fee? So Jackson fee, I think as we covered, let me go back to the slide, is around $6,900. Yep, it's around $6,900 and it'll be covered under your student loan, right? Does Miles provide help with elective tax exam study lectures? Couldn't find them on my LMS, so please let me know. You can fill up the form. Our team will get in touch with you to help you out with that. If I think you're already enrolled candidate, so please make sure to fill the form. Our team will get in touch with you to help you get that resolved. All right. Engineering graduate plus PGDM finance, pursue US CPA and move to the US. It is a slightly complicated situation here, Arpit, but it's never a no. We'll have to check the credits if they match with the requests of the university, and definitely you should be able to go with the PGDM in finance, right? So please make sure that you check your eligibility by clicking on the form link. All right. Kumar says, what if we have enrolled for EA? Do we get a job in the US? Yes, yes, yes. EA is also another pathway. So EA opens up jobs in taxation in the US. But if you want to do EA and get into audit or accounting, that will be very difficult. But with just the EA, you should be able to get jobs in taxation, and jobs are in abundance in the US. So, and we also help you do EA, right? So if that is also an issue, then you guys can register with us, right? We got you covered there as well. Can I get additional scholarship on college tuition? Yes, we have about 40% scholarships on your university tuition fees. So you do not have to worry about that, Charan. Um, I'm a fresher. I'm applying for the US pathway as a fresher. Can I get a job? Of course. With the US pathway and the job placement program, jobs are almost next to guaranteed. But if you, I mean, almost next to guaranteed, as in not guaranteed, but almost there, right? So you will get a lot of interviews from the team and things like that. What is the coaching fees for USCMA? You can go on our website and you can check that. What if we have already enrolled in EA? Do we get job in US after MS? What? Yeah. So if you're already in EA, that's an added advantage. You can spend the time that you'll be studying for either your CPA or in EA by understanding the cultures in the US, going out on weekends, partying and things like that, right? So yeah, we will help you get a job even if you're already an EA or even if you're already a CPA, right? I'm Jagdish Shetty, MBA graduate, and I have 2.5 years experience in fund accounting. So what is the best way to get a job in the US? Enroll for the Miles US pathway using one of the links that is there. That is a form link, and our team will get in touch with you to define the entire process for you to get a job in the US. Hi, Franklin. Thanks for your time. Welcome, guys. Finally, someone saying thank you. Thanks, guys. Is it compulsory to pursue MS program in the US? I'm working in Riyadh. This is a very good question, Sheikh. And the entire reason why the Masters in Accounting program is necessary for Indian accountants or for anyone who's moving to the US is because of the entire visa processes that are very strict in the US, right? And that is where the Masters in Accounting program unlocks 3 years of OPT for you in the US, right? Now you can even extend that with the 3 year lottery system or the H1B lottery that is there. Now the entire Masters in Accounting program can be omitted if the visa laws or the immigration laws in the US was slightly easier. But as of now, it's not. As of now, the only way to get a 3 year OPT in the US is through the Masters in Accounting program. All right. What if we've already enrolled in EA? Do we get a job in? Yeah, I think I've already answered that question. This is Mahinder. I have 15 years of experience in accounts with MBA finance. I have communication issues. Then we'll need to see at what level your communication is. If it's even slightly close to what my level is or what I'm speaking, then you're good to go. Your written communication is pretty decent. I think you're able to explain your thoughts really well. But make sure you again sign up on the request callback form and check your entire eligibility. And if you are trainable, we our entire US placement team will be able to help you get trained. If not, communication is very important. Communication is a big deal for accounting firms in the US. So if you're trainable, our team will help you. If not, then you'll have to skip the entire Miles US pathway. But this will be made very clear for you at the start itself so that you do not waste much time. So make sure that you fill out the form and our team will get in touch with you for that. All right. Can I get any support from you? Yes, please ask me how I can help you. Zoom user says, hi, I have 4 years experience in Medicare CA firm, if that is what you're trying to say. Does that make any difference? If you're in a CA firm, you already understand the entire accounting industry. That will be added a perk for you, right? But you'll again have to get in touch with the team to try and understand what you actually need to crack a job in the US, right? So we need to check your eligibility over there as well. I have 14 years of experience in accounts and finance. Need any courses to join join in US? Yes, that is the Masters in Accounting program. So please make sure that you again register with the form that is there. Can we again mention the form on the chat itself, guys? Like, I think it's not visible. Okay, I've mentioned that. All right. How about pathway with USCMA? Okay, so that's again a very good question, Subhash. So the entire reason we are doing only for accounting is because there is a shortage of accountants in the US, but CMA is more of a role that you get in your CFO office. You do management accounting. You do not do audit, tax, or the books or bookkeeping, right? So CMA is more of management accounting, and you will get jobs in India if you're a CMA in the CEO's office, right? Sheikh says, if I do not want to move from Riyadh, what is the option to complete CMA while doing my current job? Yeah, you can definitely. So if you do not want to move from Riyadh, we also have offices in UAE as well. Register for the CPA using the form. We will help you. We have an 80% of CPAs in India are Miles alumni, right? So we have about 75,000 alumni base across India, UAE, and US, right? So you can go through the entire course material and things like that. Our team will help you get jobs even in the UAE, or even help you get a career shift if you're just looking for that. All right. So there are a few questions in the chat as well. If you're looking at senior leadership level openings as the US, if you have experience and then CPA and MS, would it help to get good leadership role in the US? So Anand, it depends, right? Depends on where the companies have openings for. And since you'll be working at just not at a big four firm where the kind of roadmap to success or roadmap to leadership roles is very long. You'll have to go through 8 or 10 years of experience to get to a leadership level if you're working at Big Four. But right now we are working with accounting firms. These are small firms, small or mid-tier firms where you will be getting jobs at, where the company is pretty is limited up to 40 to 50 employees and things like that, right? So even if you are a starter or a fresher, for you to get to a partner level track would become very easy. And if you have experience in US accounting or US audit or US tax, and if the company have openings in leadership role, then that's amazing, right? So you'll have to get in touch with the team to understand all of those things, right? There are a lot of more questions that I would like to take up, but we do not have the time for that. So what I'll do is, you guys can fill out the form again. I think Kanishta will again mention the form on the chat. Fill out the forms. Our team will get in touch with you, and we'll make sure that we answer all the questions that you have. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining today. Have a good evening and have a good Sunday. All right. Bye bye.